and then you release. So your release is literally this. These 3 fingers, you keep it shut at all time. So this is your release. All you have to do is this. And make sure when you release, you don't go like that or that. You just go backwards. You go back, just as if you're elbowing someone on the right of you. So you're just doing this basically. It's very important because if you don't go back, your arrow is gonna end up on the left or right of your where you're aiming at basically, because you're doing this with the release hand. So it's very important you keep this hand as steady as possible, and then when you release, you you punch it back basically. That's what you want to do. And the same goes for your bow arm. It's very, very important you keep it steady and you don't move too much, because a lot of the times, especially when I started, I was doing this with the bow arm. So I was throwing my shoulder forward. You don't want to do that. Like I said from the beginning, start learning good habits from the start. So as soon as you start, you want to do everything properly, because it's very hard to unlearn bad habits once you're into archery or anything, to be honest. So once you're into it, it's hard to unlearn it. So start learning good habits properly. So your stance, you gonna align your shoulder towards the target, and then you're facing in front of you. You load on the arrow to the bow, you grab the string, you point at the target, you draw back, make sure your elbow is not facing that way or backwards, and then you just release. And this arm needs to stay straight. You cannot have this movement or that movement once you release the arrow. So these are the steps that are very, very important to pay attention to when you have started your thumb ring journey basically. And having said that, please keep in mind that these steps work for me individually. These might not work for anyone else, you know. So make sure you find what works for you. If anything that you think works for you and it's safe to do, then go for it, you know. Practice, you know, try things. One other thing I would suggest you do is you exaggerate the move, you know. So for example, if you're shooting, if you want to learn to have a clean release and you want to do this movement here, and you know, you want to learn it properly, exaggerate with it. So you get your stance right, everything, load on the arrow to the bow, point at the target, you draw back, and then you do a exaggerated move when you release, because that exaggeration allows you to understand that, okay, I'm doing this. And then eventually you slowly don't exaggerate anymore, but it's a habit. It becomes a habit basically, that you just throw your arm back when you release instead of going to the left or the right or something like that. Once you get a grouping like this, you can move back and then increase your distance. But this is the grouping you want. And before that, before you start aiming and everything, make sure you get your release right, make sure you get your bow arm, everything, form, technique, everything needs to be correct before you start aiming, before you start shooting from longer distances. So these are my tips to you, and this is what works for me. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and you can drop me a comment if you want, or like if you want, or subscribe if you want. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, drop the comment if you have any questions and if you want to know a bit more about thumb shooting and everything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Peace.